Hey guys, I'm back for another video, and today I'm going to talk about Hytale again, and today's topic is the economy. So this is something that I don't think we've seen anything about so far in Hytale. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but I'm pretty sure that there so far has been zero evidence of an economy of items having a value that, a numerical value. I haven't seen any shops. I haven't seen stores, trading huts, traveling merchants. I did see a fan art for a traveling merchant that the Hytale team liked, but I'm not sure if we've actually seen any official transactions of currency, which is why I would like to make today's video to talk about what I think could be in the game and why I'm going to make the case for why I think economy would be a great addition to this game. So let's get going. I think an economy is needed in Hytale because it helps develop the world and it gives a purpose to doing a lot of things. So, I mean, if you were to play a game like Skyrim, for example, going into a cave, and then maybe that cave opens up into a big chamber that turned out to be this large, sprawling dungeon, and maybe it's a burial ground for a bunch of ancient Nords, and they have urns with like coins in them, and you could raid these urns and steal the coins, and there's like a value in that. You can, there's a reason to go down there and get the goodies. Of course, there's gonna be, unique weapons and most likely shouts that you can learn, but money is another thing that helps motivate people to do things. So beyond just the dungeon traveling and things like that. And if you really think about it, right, it would help develop the world a lot better through the lens of, hey, people usually require money to do things, because without money, what would be the purpose of shops and trading, and what would be the purpose of farming? What would a person get in exchange if they farmed an entire town's worth of food? I think things like that, of course you can go full trade, like maybe a wheat farmer can trade a bunch of wheat for a bunch of eggs, and maybe the armor smith can make a nice set of armor in exchange for food, right? But I don't know. I think it would just make a lot more sense as a universe if there was a currency. So I think from a gameplay perspective as well, I think it would be cool to buy and sell items with coin, and I would like to stress that it should be something that is not an item in your inventory. Instead, I would want it to be something like a number in your inventory. It's got its own thing, it doesn't take up a slot, it just is there. And if it does take up a slot, it'd be a separate, unique slot that's only for money. Because that way, then you can have all of your money on you at once, and maybe when you die, you keep it, sort of thing. It's still in your inventory when you respawn. I think that'd be really important, because otherwise I feel like, I don't know, it might just, it needs to be something that's in the background that you don't really focus on too much, but it's just something that's there. Like, for example, if I go out on a big quest, I'm not going to be like, ooh, I have 5,321 coins, and then I pick up 2 and it's like, ooh, I have 5,325 or 8 coins. I don't know. Like, that's usually the way it works. Is like, oh, 2 more coins, cool. And then like that's what happens every time you get coins. And then at the end it's like, hey, from that whole trip I got like 500. Now I can maybe buy something really cool. So I don't know. I think if it had its own slot, you wouldn't have to really focus on it, and that's the way it should be. It should just be sort of in the background, and it's something that just kind of builds up over time, and then you could get stuff with it. I had this idea a while ago, and I think a good way to balance fast travel would be if it costs money. So maybe instead of Bethesda games, we can fast travel at any time. What if in Hytale there would be horse stables, where you can, purchase a ride? Maybe it would bring you anywhere in the map, but the farther the distance, the more it would cost. It wouldn't be a really expensive amount, but it'd be just enough that it would be balanced to fast travel everywhere. And it'd make people think, do I need to go all the way across the map right away for this quest, or can I do something along the way? And then that's usually how you get to a lot of side quests. and it just promotes a more natural gameplay experience that I think is more realistic. It's more like the real world, which means, I don't know, more immersion, I guess. I think it'd also be cool if there was an option to pay NPCs to farm for you, or maybe even to work land in other ways, so maybe you can have like a little business on the side. It'd be kind of cool. You're just out on adventures, meanwhile like there's a bunch of people working for you back at home. Also, it'd be pretty neat to buy specific types of gear. For example, a weaponsmith, there'd be a tannery, maybe a bakery, and each place has its own inventory, and you can use, money to buy all of it. And then if you go to the armor smith and you sell like this really crazy piece of armor that you really don't need, you can get a lot of money for it. So that's another thing that's great, is that in my time playing, for example, Fallout New Vegas, I came across a lot of items that I just don't need. For example, if I were to kill a bunch of super mutants, I would have super sledges, and they are worth a lot of caps. And I don't need them. They weigh like 20 pounds a piece, which is like ridiculously heavy for a weapon. I don't know if the unit of weight is pounds in that game, but 20 is a lot. Like your inventory, if you have like a maxed out character, is like 350. So your weapon taking up 20 when you're constantly picking up new weapons and armor and ammo and misc items, it adds up really fast. So 20 is heavy. Generally what I use is like a laser rifle that's about like 14 maybe. There's even, I sometimes when I'm feeling risky I go out with the combat knife, which is only 1. But anyway, yeah, so eventually you'd want to sell these items that are taking up space in your inventory, or just dump them at home. But you can convert items you'll never use anyway, like especially if you have repeats. What if you have 2 axes? Like what are you going to do with the second one? If it's Minecraft, you're just going to throw it in a chest and forget about it. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll find a trade with a villager to get emeralds for it, but like the emerald trading system is so clunky that it most of the time is not even worth it, because everything's such a low stakes as far as trading is concerned. Like it's so menial and like not, like who's seriously gonna buy 5 wheat for an emerald? Like if I was gonna buy anything from a village, I would buy on the order of stacks, I'd be more like, I would say maybe 8 stacks of wheat for like 30 emeralds or something like that. I don't know. Like that seems like a deal that would actually mean more to me. I don't know. But yeah, things like that, where a shop that specifically specifies in this sort of thing, a whole building even, would, again, it would help with immersion. It would make things more realistic. It would make people feel more at home in the universe of Hytale. And it would give them a chance to do something with the stuff they don't need. And it could provide an economy for multiplayer servers as well. I know more than anybody that multiplayer servers are severely lacking in interplayer economy. That's why I created Ultimate Shops, which I would believe is the best item shopping solution in Craft Bucket and Spigot. It's just such a nice plugin that visualizes items and it allows you to buy and sell any amount of them for any price, any buy and sell price that you want. And it allows like a free market, which is something that vanilla Minecraft just doesn't have. Anyway, also having money in the game would make for a great thing to put in as loot for, completing a quest or just killing enemies. Maybe a spider would have some gold in it, which sounds stupid, but like every game does it if you think about it. Like if you're playing Borderlands and you kill like a monster, for some reason, like it's not even humanoid, you just kill some monster and there's like a machine gun in its chest, and then you are like, well, I guess someone just died and got eaten with their weapon and all, and it's inside the creature or whatever. So it's not that out of the park that some mobs would drop gold, especially skeletons. I think that just makes sense because they were once human and maybe they had gold in their pockets or something, I don't know. But yeah, it'd make for good loot for killing mobs or enemies, or even human enemies, You'd be able to get some coin from it. And you could find it in chests. You can it would give you a reason to pick up loot in dungeons that you would never use. So maybe you find a really awesome battle axe, but you're like a bow user and you really don't need a huge battle axe. Like you prefer to use something more like a knife if you have to go up close. So that's when you would take it anyway and then bring it back to the village to sell it for a bunch of coins. Then you could use those coins to buy a better bow, and then it's really valuable for you. So yeah, I would love to see, gameplay elements like that are really natural, to be honest. It's like, you could, instead of dealing with what you've got, maybe there'd be special items you could only buy. I give Fallout 4 a lot of flack for not being as good as New Vegas, but I have to say, some of the purchasable weapons are really fun. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a mini nuke launcher. They're called the Fat Man in that game, but this one duplicated the shot after you shot it. So if you shoot one mini nuke, 2 pop out. And then if you add that to the attachment that makes it so that the mini nuke split off into 1,000,000 pieces, it splits off into 2,000,000 pieces, and it just carpet bombs everything, and it's like hilarious. So, like, you know, and there's another unique weapon that is really overpowered. I think it was called like Spray and Pray or something, and it was a Tommy gun with explosive bullets. Like, it was pretty cool. As I said, I don't really like Fallout 4 as a whole, but that element was okay. So maybe specific vendors at specific places would give you unique weapons with a different name, and they'd have some benefit that's like unique to that weapon. It'd be pretty cool. Of course, if you have an economy, you would also have things like trade routes between towns. Maybe in that case, you would have commonly traversed roads, where commonly people would pass by in that area, which might make it pretty risky, because then the bandits would know where to go if they want to raid somebody, which again increases immersion because it makes sense. Instead of just traveling around and randomly seeing a merchant like in the middle of a freaking like lava field or something stupid, like if they're walking on a trade route road, it makes sense. And then it's like, hey, I've noticed throughout my tens of hours I've played so far of this game that this is a place where people frequent. So if I want to find traveling merchants, I should go here. And maybe there'll be little hints in the game, like maybe there'll be a tooltip saying, like in a loading screen, if you want to find more trade, you can go to the common trade routes. I don't know. And then again, that'd also lead to more situations that are realistic, like, I don't know. I gotta be careful when I say the word realistic, because I do recognize that a 100% realistic game isn't really a game anymore, it's like a simulator. But I think it's realistic in a good way. Of course, I think trading one item for another is going to be a thing in Hytale anyway, so I'm not gonna really hit on that too much. I really do hope that coin and like currency is a thing, because it would add so much more depth to the gameplay. It won't really add much to the story, but I think actually the area that would benefit most from having money would probably be post-game, because then it could be your goal to make 1,000,000 coin, and then like there could be this special thing that costs 1,000,000 coin. Maybe there's like this super duper huge mansion you could buy in a town for that much, and it like comes pre-stocked with all sorts of crazy things, like a movie theater or maybe a literal theater where people would act or something. It'd be really funny. And then you'd have tutorials. It'd be like, where do you go to find the best deals on a certain item? It's like, oh, this vendor's got really good blah blah blah, and it would and then you could be like, well, this weapon's great, but each arrow costs like 13 coins and it's super expensive. But if you pick the slingshot, it only does 2 less damage, and you could pick up rocks off the ground. And you know, there'd be like, you know, depth to the gameplay. There'd be a strategy. Even in vanilla survival, there'd be a reason to do some things over other things, but there'd be ups and downs, so there's no obvious choice. If you have a lot of money, then yeah, it makes sense to get the crossbow, maybe, where bolts are expensive in comparison to like a bow with regular arrows. But if you have the money, then that's not a problem for you, and you're only concerned with doing the maximum damage per shot, so it only makes sense. But if you're like early in the game and you don't have a lot of money, then you would go for something like a slingshot, because it's cheap and it gets the job done. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on currency and Hytale, guys. I really do like this idea. I didn't really think too seriously of an economy, since, you know, I don't play a lot of games anymore in general, and not many of them have an economy. But after compiling all these ideas, I'm really excited for the concept of, you know, doing whole Let's Plays of the game, even, where I'm solely focused on becoming rich. That'd be pretty fun, I think. Well, anyway, leave a like down below if you guys enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to continue the Hytale discussion, you should join my Discord server. This time I'm going to promote a different one, the Blockshot Network. So I own multiple Discords, so the botnet's usually the one I advertise, but this time I would like you guys to check out the Blockshot Network, because it is a server that is going to be in Hytale and all about guns and shooting. And I talked about Fallout a lot in this video, and the Apocalypse mode is meant to be the Fallout of Hytale. So a lot of these things I've been talking about with currency, if they don't end up in vanilla, then they will sure be in Blockshot's Apocalypse mode. So if you have nothing else to look forward to other than the game itself, now you have that. Well, anyway, I'll leave a link in the description and in the pinned comment down below, but for now, that's it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.